Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. More big changes and cuts at Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson's paid global ambassador role has officially come to an end as Sir Jim Ratcliffe continues his cost-cutting spree at Manchester United. Get involved in today's chat, everyone, because we would love to know your opinions so we can discuss them throughout today's video. Bit of a tricky one with a couple of D's in that one, but we finally got there. But your first overall thoughts on this going into it?
Listen, it's as simple as this. Sir Jim Ratcliffe come in. We all wanted change. We knew what was going on in the background. No prisoners being taken. That's how I see it. And that's what we all asked for. A proper clear out is going on. Big review has been undergone. And it's still continuing. Sir Alex Ferguson there, to be honest with you, in this role, what he was in, global ambassador, I actually don't think he expected to be in it for so long, especially on wages like he was getting. For me, I think it's the correct decision. Sir Alex Ferguson, we all know, hero to us all. You cannot argue with what it is. But Sir Alex Ferguson himself was ruthless. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe come in and told us he was going to be ruthless. We all know that this club was run by people under the Glazers, right, and looking after themselves. And really, Sir Alex Ferguson, I think he understood what was coming. He knew what was coming. And I don't think he'll be too bothered about it, to be honest with you.
Well, the Glazers definitely seen some value in keeping Ferguson at the club, you know, the legacy that he built at Manchester United. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe looked at this and he doesn't see value in Sir Alex Ferguson anymore. Can we be that harsh on it?
No, he doesn't see value in it. Someone else has got to come along. Listen, Sir Alex Ferguson is in his 80s. He's had his own problems and that with his health and everything. Does he really get around as much as he used to? I don't think so. This deal was done under the Glazers as a thank you. But how long does that thank you continue? And as I say, I think Ferguson is quite surprised that it's been going on for so long, 12, 13 years. So listen, everything comes to an end, and I think Sir Alex will just walk away with a smile on his face and say, I've done a great job here. But a lot of people out there I've seen are not happy with this. But you asked, I wanted, you wanted big change, and that change is going to take time, and it has to be ruthless. It's not sustainable paying that much money to somebody who actually who Ratcliffe doesn't see as value for money. And it's a big message to everybody what comes into this club. You will have to do your work to get paid, and we're not paying silly money anymore.
He has always talked about Sir Alex Ferguson in a glowing light, you know, as a man, and also what he'd done for Manchester United. But looking at other ambassadors as well, you know, Brian Robson, Andy Cole or Andrew Cole is still there. So do you expect any movement with them? Do you expect them to be kept on, or is this a full overhaul of like club ambassadors?
I think we've seen changes in ambassadors already. I think we've seen changes with MUTV and everything like that. Everything's being looked at, and people, if it doesn't, they don't see value, they get rid. So the ambassadors will change. Some will come, some will go, and it just depends on what they're going to use them for. But Sir Alex, his time, the Ratcliffe is saying is up. The wages are just not sustainable.
Yeah, I think this is an overall push as well from Ratcliffe on job losses, removing staff perks to save roughly £40 to £45 million at Manchester United. So there must be some real issues or concerns behind the scenes that, you know, we're on the brink or we could be getting there if we don't start cutting some jobs back and some perks, surely.
Yeah, the finance in United, we know where we're at. We're right on the edge. It's affecting us going forward, picking up players. The structure at the moment is to go and get young players. But at some point, we're going to have to break out and get that big star, the big wages, bring him in, cement into the team to take us one step higher. But money is a problem, and they're going right through this club. I think the players and future players will look at this and say, well, there's no more freebies here where players can come in. And I think the contracts, we discussed it yesterday, Kieron, about contracts and everything else like that. Players sort of lingering round like a bad smell, and they're having a proper clear out. So they will look at contracts, and these freebies, as I see it, with these contracts, giving them mega money without actually being accountable at the end of the day is no more. And Sir Alex Ferguson, his role, it's not accountable. He was given a contract. I'm not too sure what type of contract it was. I think it was just like a nod, there you go, with no timescale on it. That had to come to an end. And like
Look,
I say,
on here, we don't shy away from the big talking points amongst the online fan base and the match-going fan base. And we know a lot of people who are a bit disgruntled about Ferguson not publicly criticising the Glazers despite his close ties to Manchester United. Did you think like Sir Alex Ferguson was some kind of like shield, for the want for a better word, for the Glazers as well to continue running the football club while he was in position?
Listen, it's speculation on that, but you have to turn around and sort of say, right, well, the Glazers are there. Look, you've done the job for me. I'm going to look after you. You look after me. In other words, keep quiet, Sir Alex Ferguson. Don't be mentioning what went on in the club, how you dealt with me or anything like that. Lots of people out there for the last few years have been talking about that as though like Ferguson was a shield for the Glazers. He should have spoken out more, and maybe he should have spoken out more, but he's an ambassador for the club. That's what he was getting paid for, and he accepted that. Whether it's right or wrong, it is down to an individual opinion on whether he did the right thing, keeping his mouth shut. Now, at the end of the day, we're moving on here, okay? Sir Alex Ferguson, you can't take it away from him, but he was a ruthless man in his own right. And now that ruthlessness has come back and got him and sort of said, Alex, you're out of the club. You're now just a non-executive director. Basically, he's got a role ceremonial. Welcome back into the ground, away games. That's what's going to be happening to Sir Alex Ferguson now.
Yeah. Very well paid during his time at Manchester United, and was recognised for his achievements as well, and he got a knighthood for it.
Listen, he got the knighthood. We'd have given him a knighthood any time. Yeah. You can't take away what Sir Alex has meant to this football club. But regardless of who you are or anything like that, I go back to what's happening at Manchester United, and there is a full overhaul, and that full overhaul will take time. There will be loads of disruption. I just look at the previous regime under the Glazers working there, and I have said it time and time again. There was that many departments in there. They were just looking after themselves. They weren't working for the big picture. They weren't working as one for Manchester United and where we had to go. They were all looking after themselves. And this is probably seen within certain people inside the club that this was just one of those things, people looking after themselves. I'm not saying that's how I see it as. I'm just looking at it as like time to move on. And I do look at it this way. I actually, as I said before, I think Sir Alex Ferguson just thought, here we go, nice little payoff. I'll be the global ambassador. I'll do this for a few years. But it has continued. And at the end of the day...
You've got to look at Manchester United off the pitch, though, despite the failings on the pitch in terms of challenging, winning Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues or Europa League. We've still been a juggernaut off the pitch commercially, and Ferguson must have played a part in that as a global ambassador.
Listen, a global ambassador, but if you look at his role, even
keeping the profile of the club up there, despite the failings on the pitch.
Yeah, despite the failings on the pitch. But the thing is, there was people inside there who I believe resented Sir Alex Ferguson. If you go back to Murto and the stories about Jude Bellingham being at Old Trafford, being shown around, and Murto sort of shunned Sir Alex Ferguson, that's not what he was there for. Ferguson should have been in there trying to talk to Jude Bellingham, right, to get him in, to understand the football club. But I do believe there was a lot of resentment in there, and that's why I say each department was looking after each other. Murto wanted to shun Sir Alex Ferguson in certain ways, and he wanted the spotlight. So Ferguson's role was sort of being diminished by people inside the club already, and he didn't have this approach, this appeal, as people sort of seen it. So really, the resentment was in there, and when someone is on that much money, there is always resentment.
Yeah, a few of you's getting involved in the chat. Difference of opinions. Some people think it's a disgrace in what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has done with Sir Alex Ferguson. Some people are appreciating it, and that it's times have changed at Manchester United. Alex J59 says, part of the problem with Sir Alex is that it's also a reminder of how long it's been since we were successful. Stephanie says, Sir Alex Ferguson will give free advice if needed. He still loves the club. Sentiment, and that time is over. The players next, please.
Yeah, well, sentiment, it's over. There's no room for sentiment. Look where we've been for 10, 12 years. That sentiment has got us nowhere. The sentiment, what people go on about, looking after each other and all that, that's just like, it's got us nowhere at all. We've just signed players. We've got players walking around. We've got people inside the club just thinking it's a cash cow. That's how it's looked. You talked about the global reach and all that and the money what comes in, everything else like that. But it's been wasted. It has not been looked after by the finance directors or anything like that. And no one has come under scrutiny. It's just been handed out. And the Glazers, being absent owners, they've not been aware of certain things what have been going on, and people have looked after themselves. That has always been an argument of what's been going on at Manchester United, and a lot of resentment. There is no two ways about it. There has been a lot of resentment inside there about people's roles inside this football club. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's coming in and he's changing everything, but it will cause chaos and absolute murders in there. And I think that's what's going on now, and it will continue to get us on a level playing field. This is going to continue for a while, and then after 2 or 3 years, hopefully everything has been changed. That's how I see it.
Yeah, a lot of you's getting involved still in the chat, giving difference of opinions. People are talking about other football clubs. Would they do the same thing with managers like at Liverpool or at Arsenal, if you know, with Wenger, etc., if they were in the similar positions?
Proper run football club, right, looks after its finances, and where the finances aren't being used correctly, okay, to the point of like not doing the job proper or unable to do the job proper, then you cut. You have to be ruthless. This is a ruthless industry now, right? Football, all about money, and at this moment in time, it's all about cost cutting because there is no money. People are already talking about January transfer window, buying players. That is not happening. There is no money. So the cost cutting is going on, and this is just part of it. Now, when people heard about him cost cutting and being ruthless, everyone was talking about the cleaner and, you know, like certain other people in sort of like low paid jobs and all that inside United. I don't think people expected this. So they're going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and they're clearing the decks, and then they're resetting. And that's what it's all about, because this club needs a reset. And Sir Alex Ferguson is part of the reset.
10 says, Sir Alex Ferguson has given us loads, whereas the Rat has given us nothing. Some man for one man says, what are they now trying to promote as our symbol is the big question. You see Sir Alex Ferguson as like the symbol for Manchester United of everything that was great in recent history.
Look, nothing lasts forever. That's how I look at things. Nothing lasts forever. And things at Old Trafford could not carry on the way it's been carrying on. If we want change, we want to be challenging, we want to be successful going forward, this is what everyone was talking about, okay? Then you need change, and you have to start the change, going through the staff, everything like that, and then looking after the pennies. Now, the pennies make pounds, we all know that. And he's been ruthless. And someone had to come in and be ruthless. There was too many people walking about in there. I know there was resentment inside that football club towards other different people. I just highlighted one there, John Murtough, sidelining Sir Alex Ferguson in there. And that may have cost us Jude Bellingham. That may have cost us Jude Bellingham because of people's resentment to what other people inside the club were doing.
Fred has gifted 5 memberships. The people who've got them 5 memberships say a big thank you to Fred. NXT says, also, this decision doesn't and shouldn't change anything about the way people view what Fergie's done and means for Manchester United.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
No, anyone's views. I mean, there is different views on Sir Alex at different periods in his reign at Old Trafford, but your view should stay exactly the same. You have to look at this in a different light. This is no prisoners being taken while a full review and a full clear out is going out. And I go back to it. I don't think Sir Alex thought he would be in that role and being paid that much money for this long. And I think he will just accept it and just think to himself, right, the role's over. I'm happy. And he has been happy. He's been paid well for what he's been doing.
We'll emphasise what we said at the start of the video. You know, the way Sir Jim Ratcliffe talks about Sir Alex Ferguson in a glowing light and their actual friendship, you know, man to man.
Yeah.
You know, you can see this being an amicable decision between the pair of them as well. It's not as though, like, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has threw the axe down on Sir Alex Ferguson's head. It's been an amicable decision and what's best for the football club, surely.
Yeah, well, the reports are sort of saying that, you know, Ratcliffe himself told Sir Alex, and Sir Alex was fine about it, and they are getting on well, and they do talk about each other in glowing terms. Look, Ratcliffe understands as a fan what it is and what Sir Alex Ferguson means to this club. Yeah. But the times are changing, as they say. Bob Dylan said it. The times are changing, and Sir Alex Ferguson know the wind is blowing. It's changing, and we've all got to accept that. And Sir Alex, amicable. Ratcliffe, amicable, move on. And really, you shouldn't really go too much into the attack mode here. Things are changing. They're changing quicker than people thought, which is great. And there's more changes to come.
A lot of people will be thinking maybe, or asking, when will that axe fall down on the Glazers' head, where Sir Jim Ratcliffe can maybe take full control of the football club?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
I think that's what a lot of us are waiting for.
Well,
will it come soon?
Will it come soon? What are the Glazers getting involved in? That's what you've got to ask yourself. It looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe is involved in everything. You know, we were told, he told us that he's coming in to sort out the football. And
his remit was like the football operations, but it seems to be a lot wider than that.
Well, he seems to be running the club.
Yeah.
So there might be news in the new year about a change going on with Ratcliffe and Glazer, who owns what. So, you know, times, looking ahead, there is massive changes coming, and we shouldn't look at it all in a negative aspect, because in a couple of years we expect it all to be different. We have been in a mode of Glazers since Sir Alex Ferguson stopped running this football club, right, in a depression of like, oh no, players taking the mick, people taking the mick in the club, and changes have to come. Power. Listen, it all points to a ruthless clear out, and that's what we want. I don't want anything else. Okay, I just don't want it. I want someone ruthless, and this is being ruthless. Part of the process to go forward. You have to be ruthless. You have to make changes, and this is just the way it is. It's not personal on Sir Alex.
Just like Sir Alex Ferguson was ruthless back in his day, doing what he thought was best for Manchester United. So I'm sure he'll appreciate that ruthlessness in a sense as well. And just going into the chat, Ray says, Sir Jim is being an owner at last. And cheers for your super chat, mate. Anton Will says, I think it's time for Sir Alex Ferguson to step down or just to go. He has had his time at Manchester United. I absolutely love Sir Alex Ferguson, but he did leave the club in a bit of a mess, and his influence hasn't done anything at this time.
Well, it depends how you look at it. Sir Alex Ferguson's influence, he was always talking to people behind the scenes, people who you wouldn't even expect, spoke to people, pushed the club along. Ruthless manager, but he did get a lot of things wrong. You know, I look at Jaap Stam, for instance, you know, there's just one, and he regrets certain things, but that's his nature. Now, that's why he's not going to argue with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. His nature is a ruthless businessman, and he understands that, Sir Alex Ferguson.
We've got to take into account as well that, you know, this could have been like a mutual decision. You know, we don't actually really know the facts just yet, apart from what's being wrote in The Athletic, where Ferguson might have come to Sir Jim Ratcliffe or other people inside the club as to say, look, this is my final year.
Listen, I think Sir Alex Ferguson knew the writing was on the wall. He knows Sir Jim Ratcliffe being a ruthless businessman. He knew he was going to clear out the club, go through everything. He's part of the board. He was sitting on there. Yeah. He understood what people's roles were, what they were being brought in for, that the finances were being looked at, everyone's wages, what job role they were doing and everything. So he's known from the off Sir Alex Ferguson, and that's why I say it's not going to come as a shock for Sir Alex Ferguson, and that's why I believe the stories what are being out there that it was amicable and everyone's fine with it. So I think people really shouldn't really go in on Ratcliffe for making this decision. It's part of something what Sir Alex himself has been sat on in board meetings, knowing what was coming, and he probably approved a lot of the ruthlessness what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is undergoing at this moment in time.
Yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson's obviously got a massive legacy of what he done at Manchester United. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe's maybe looking at it in ways he's got to preserve and build his own legacy himself in making Manchester United great again, because let's face it, no matter what he's done in other companies and other businesses, it will be Manchester United for what he's remembered for largely.
Well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's got to make his own legacy. I agree with that. And the legacy where people will sort of look back at it in the future is getting rid of the Glazers and quickly as possible and moving on, and then also getting back United to winning ways. But it's a rocky road, and I think everyone inside the club knows that. But if he wants a legacy, he's got to get rid of the Glazers as quickly as possible. I do believe he sees that as part of like the cost-cutting in a way and getting rid of the old. And the Glazers do represent the old. Very depressing era under the Glazers when you look at it over the last 10 years, how it's been run. And I think he knows he's got to get rid of him. But I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I think we're all going to be shocked at how the Glazers actually stay here. But that's only my personal opinion anyway.
A lot of us obviously are football fans. It's what matters on the pitch, and if we're challenging winning trophies, etc. And a lot of people can just guess out there, they're saying, well, when's all the cost cutting going to come down and fall on some of these players?
Well, I think that's going to be done through contracts and everything else. I don't think anything's going to be left untouched. You look at Ferguson now, like I say, people never thought this was going to happen, but this is the type of ruthlessness what's needed. Players will not escape now, and it's everything we want. I have to reiterate again, and I have said it time and time again, okay, there is going to be carnage and chaos in this football club for quite a while, and this is just part of the process, and it has to be done. It has to be done. And people inside there, they know it's coming to them, and the players know it's coming to them. They know that the easy ride is over now. Walking round here and expecting an easy ride is over. They will, I think, come next summer, you will see massive changes to this playing staff. Massive changes.
Just like to thank Stephanie for keeping a tab on the likes and how many people are watching. A few of you getting involved. Some of you are a little bit highly strung at the moment with the decision to get rid of Sir Alex Ferguson. But let's just keep it amicable between ourselves in the comment section. We've all got a difference of opinion. We're passionate and we love our football club. So just try and have a sensible debate if you possibly can. Just like to thank you all for joining us today. Smash a like on the video to support us, and we will be back tomorrow with another live video. So get that notification on, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone, and a big thank you.
Thank you.